Is obesity toxic, or do we just have a problem with body acceptance? Let's listen to some people on both sides of that argument, and please let us know what you think in the comments below.
He loves his trumpet, don't he? Look at that. Woo! That boy is musically inclined.
Comedian Ralphie May has died at the age of 45. His manager confirmed that news this afternoon.
Boy, are you fat. What'd you say?
James Gandolfini, who died suddenly today at 51, was Tony Soprano.
Wow.
See you in the car.
Patient in Mexico filming a new movie. He died in his sleep of a heart attack. Although friends and fans are taking the news with great shock and sadness, Candy will be remembered for making us laugh.
It is okay to be fat. This is just a reminder from me, Matthew Anshell, your TikTok gay best friend, that you are amazing in the body that you have right now. And if your body is a fat body, that includes you.
My dieting story is a lot like nearly everybody's dieting story. It starts with one diet, you lose some weight, you gain it back, and you go on another one and another one and another one. And over the next 24 years, I was always on a diet. I want to talk about this big myth about fat and health, which is that fat is unhealthy and weight loss is healthy. 95% of people who lose weight on a diet gain it back within 3 to 5 years. 95% of people, right? This is a huge number of people who gain all of the weight back within 3 to 5 years. Well, I'm here to tell you that fat is not dangerous the way you think it is. There are instances in the medical literature and in research that talk about the obesity paradox. So what is the obesity paradox? Well, it's this instance that happens again and again and again where obesity seems to have a protective effect. Here are a couple of examples where obesity or fat, I like to use that word, just fat, has a protective effect. One is type 2 diabetes. So people with type 2 diabetes who are fatter actually have a longer life expectancy than thinner people with type 2 diabetes, right? And what do we tell people with type 2 diabetes all the time? Well, you have to lose weight, right? You have to watch your sugar and your carbs, and you should do some stress reduction, but you have to lose weight. Well, we're giving people wrong information all the time. It shows up again and again. It shows up with strokes. People who are fatter who have strokes tend to heal better after stroke, have better post-stroke outcomes. People who end up in post-surgical ICU, they have a better chance of surviving and thriving after post-surgical ICU if they're fatter. And this is just a couple of instances. So you take a 5'5", 40-year-old, 135-pound woman, and you take a 5'5", 40-year-old, 300-pound woman, and they have the same mortality risk as long as they engage with these 4 basic healthy behaviors, which are very simple. These are not complicated things. These are the kind of things that people say to do all the time. And I'll tell you what they are. 1 is not smoking. 2 is moderate drinking or not drinking at all. 3 is eating 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. And 4 is getting moderate exercise, like 30 minutes of walking a couple of times a week. And if you do those 4 basic healthy behaviors, weight really doesn't matter. Well, there's this new paradigm, pretty new, called health at every size. And in my work as a wellness coach, I use a health at every size model. And here are the 3 principles of health at every size. They're really basic. So 1 is eating in a way, basically intuitive eating in a way that's aligned with your hunger and fullness signals, and eating with pleasure, eating a variety of food. That's 1. 2 is finding body movement that is appropriate for your body and also pleasurable, stuff you like to do, that you like moving and enjoying. And 3rd, and perhaps my favorite, is accepting your body, understanding that there is a beautiful diversity of bodies in the world, and your body fits right in there.
And here's just a couple more famous ladies from the Fat is Beautiful camp that somehow just didn't make the cut.
But so what I've been looking at, there's other people that I'm working with that are looking at, markers of inflammation, glucose response, like all the metabolic parameters. I'm specifically looking at people's damage to their DNA. So like we get white blood cells and they're frozen down, and then I look at the DNA and the white blood cells and see how much damage there is. I do it at baseline, so before they start the blueberry powders, and these people have a lot of damage because they're obese. Obesity accelerates damage to DNA. Damage to DNA causes all sorts of problems, but eventually it leads to cancer. And people that are obese have like a twofold increased risk of multiple cancers.
There's this ridiculous article that I read where it was talking about the positive benefits of being overweight, where people are trying to justify being overweight.
I do agree that there is stigma that I have to deal with because I am fat, but I'm actually really in celebration of my body. I find beauty in diversity. I think we come in all shapes and sizes. And the assumption that we've dealt with a lot on this show is that just because you're obese, you must overeat. You must have an eating disorder. I know that not to be the case.
Look, if you want to feel good about yourself, it's impossible to feel good about yourself when you're doing something that's self-destructive. Also, self-destructive behaviors that result in damage or debilitation or even disfigurement to the body, that's never going to be perceived as beautiful.
The thing is that I think that the HAES approach, the health at every size approach, has been documented to work. And it's been documented to work year after year.
What do you mean work? What do you mean work? We know that it is actually factual that obesity is dangerous and it's connected to cancer, stroke, Alzheimer's. We even know it's connected to an increase in birth defects. So there's nothing left to debate.
Mimi?
It's not beautiful. It's not healthy.
Now, I have students that when they come to me, when they start my class, they can barely walk from the car to my class. And over the course of a year, I'll take them from that point to working out 3+ hours
There's
per
your class
week.
now.
Right.
I mean, but that's a massive improvement. I mean,
Right.
that's no longer people with medical issues. Those are people you've taken and improved them.
It's so bizarre that your very biology, the thing that gets you through life, that people are so intent on receiving mouth pleasure, which is all it is. I mean, that's what you're doing. You're shoveling food in your mouth. You're getting mouth pleasure, and then you're getting the response, the physical response to whatever sugars or anything that your body and your gut bacteria are craving. But so much into it that you're broadcasting it in the form of this like really misleading article that was just designed to make you feel better for being overweight and to justify these choices that you've made, which are terrible choices. Like, there's no benefit whatsoever to being overweight, right?
No, I mean, being overweight is linked to increased risk for cardiovascular disease, increased risk for type 2 diabetes, increased risk for cancer, increased risk of stroke, it's increased risk of Alzheimer's disease. So I mean, having an increased risk for all of those age-related diseases is not good.
There you go, right there.
People shouldn't be celebrating being morbidly obese, in my estimation.
But that's
because actually it is a dangerous condition that causes many people to die.
Look, you've got a fair point. It is dangerous. It can lead to dangerous issues, which could, diabetes and so on. And that is an issue. But we don't encourage gaining weight. There's a difference between the videos you just showed on the screen.
Come off,
what we're
George,
talking about now.
you're doing this.
'cause
These TikToks are all geared to you.
No. You're showing people encouraging eating food. I'm just saying, wow, look at the pizza. Look, it's from Costco. It's nice.
No, you're not. You're not.
That's what I'm doing.
Sorry, George.
That's what I'm doing.
You are glorifying scoffing.
It's called taking the piss. That's what it is.
Well, maybe.
That's what it is. It's having a laugh and not taking yourself too seriously.
Why is it funny?
How am I supposed to give this up? Why can't this food be good for you?
the middle muffin, the spare tire, whatever the nickname, people with this punch should take note.
They may actually have a health risk that is even worse off than those who are obese.
No way. That Chick-fil-A sauce? I dreamt about food like all night long.
A recent health survey found people have trouble believing their extra pounds are weighing into their poor health. In fact, obesity-related problems are a huge health indicator.
I've decided to really not give a shit anymore about, like, I'm just gonna live my life. If people wanna criticize me for what I eat, they wanna sit there and sneer at me for burping, farting, for telling threesome stories and sleeping with homeless people. Whatever, man, do what you gotta do.
All of the chronic diseases that we deal with, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, they're all related to weight problems. It's anticipated that the next generation will not live as long as this current generation if things continue to go the way they are.
Still, more than 53% of men didn't think their weight was a problem, and 48% of women felt the same way. Experts see a rise in obesity that parallels the rise in diabetes.
I started the hashtag We Wear What We Want because I saw a story on my Twitter feed about a plus-size woman who was being publicly body shamed. And I realized that that is a very common experience for all plus-size women.
I actually really love the hashtag. I've always been like a big proponent of like women wearing whatever we want to wear because why shouldn't we, you know?
It's a great campaign. You see a lot of women, especially on college campuses and areas like California where I've grown up, that a lot of girls struggle with body positivity.
Since I've reclaimed words like chunky, chubby, fluffy, voluptuous, I have no problem calling myself those names.
With our aging population and with the increased prevalence of obesity, I believe this trend is going to continue to rise. As you gain weight, you become more insulin resistant, meaning that you can't use the sugar or glucose in your blood.
Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer in this country. Excessive weight is also a contributing factor there. Doctors use body mass index to gauge heart health.
I want women to feel that when they see me, that I am representing them and that I want them to have a voice and I will be that voice for them.
A lot of people with these high waist sizes or the high body mass index develop what we call metabolic syndrome, and that's becoming more and more common in our country with increasing weight. The metabolic syndrome tends to carry with it a higher risk of cardiovascular disease, so a higher risk of myocardial infarction, higher risk of stroke.
The CDC reports obese people show up more in emergency rooms compared to the general population.
Well, there's some interesting opinions from both sides of the aisle. Please let me know whether you think it's okay to be fat or not in the comments below. And if you like this video, please share it with somebody and please subscribe. And once again, thanks for watching.